So we're doing a June video in a poppy field. How about that? And I was thinking I might do something symbolic with the whole poppy thing and do the lest we forget kind of video. I want to do 10 questions you should never ask tarot, lest we forget. Right? So what is question 1 that you should never ask tarot? What does my future hold? So the thing is with that, now I have covered this in other videos, but it never gets old. If you ask what my future holds and you don't like the answer, okay, you've got yourself into a real bind. Tarot likes to be helpful. Don't ask what my future holds. Tell me what you want, and then let's see how we can get you there. Because the trouble is, when we look down the path and we just ask, well, what's it going to be like? What am I going to do? We're painting ourselves into a position of having no power. So let's not ask what's my future. Let's ask what's possible for me, and how can I make a future in which I can be happy and empowered. That sounds better, doesn't it? Let's put tarot to work. It likes it. All right, question 2 is, will I find love? Again, we've got the same answer. When we ask, will I find love? And tarot says, you see, you know, at the moment, as things are going, it's not looking great, because the decisions you're making and the guys you're choosing, I don't like the odds. But that doesn't have to be the story. That doesn't have to be the story. What we can do is make tarot work for us. How can I find love? Is a much better question. Let's ask an open-ended question so we can get tarot to actually do what it does best and add value. Okay, who is my soulmate? The question of soulmates is a tricky one, isn't it? Because I know what you mean when you say soulmate. What you mean is, how can I find that one person with whom I can be happy, with whom I feel I belong? Well, that's fine, but the trouble is, A, a soulmate is not necessarily a romantic partner, and B, there is not just one person with whom you can be happy. There are millions of people with whom you can be happy. So what we have to do is we have to rephrase the question to say, how can I find a life partner with whom I can have a happy and connected life? That's a better question. Soulmates are not necessarily romantic. Soulmates are somebody who you have a soul relationship with, but who may be coming into your life path to help you experience or learn something that is actually important. Now, you will meet those people come what may. You don't have to ask how to meet them. There is just a natural way of things with that. But it's important that we're accurate with tarot, because tarot will take you literally. If you ask a question, it will answer literally. And so again, we have to make sure we know what we want. Okay, what is question 4? Will my business be successful? You can see the pattern here, can't you? You can see the pattern. We are working on the premise when we ask these patterns that there is a predetermined outcome. And that predetermined outcome may not be the outcome that we want it to be. What we want to ask is a question, is this business destined to be successful? If I want a successful business, is this the way to go? Because maybe this isn't the right business. Maybe there's a different business. Maybe this business will lead you to a different path. We need to ask the right question, which is, I want to be successful. Is this the right path to do it? Okay, that's much better, isn't it? It doesn't mean there's a sort of Damocles hanging over your head if I say no. Okay, the next one, when will I die? Okay, so A, that's not a question anybody can answer. It's also not a question you should ask, but It's incredibly difficult to ask tarot when you'll die, because tarot doesn't see an end point to your energy, because you don't actually energetically die. And so that's very difficult for me or any other tarot reader to predict. Also, you don't want to predict the end point in your life, because what if you get it wrong? And you're living your life to a position of this point is the end point. I have been asked by people when someone will die. That is in the context of somebody who is ill, somebody who is looking at the last point of their life, and the person asking the question wanted to know how long they had. And again, it is actually really difficult to read energy from that perspective, because the person actually does go on energetically, and as I'm not reading them physically, all I can really do is look at the reactions of people around them to try and gauge when it looks likely. It's not reliable. It isn't a good question to ask. It's just not trustworthy as far as I'm concerned. So question 6, why does X, and that could be your boss, your boyfriend, your friend, why does X hate me? And that is a question that I have been asked. So when we're asking a question as to why does somebody dislike me, or why is there some sort of negative energy that we're exploring, we are presuming that indeed they do hate you. And that may not be true. So we need to make sure, again, we keep our questions open. We keep them coming from an empowered perspective, because maybe they don't hate you. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe they are behaving in a way that is mirroring something of the relationship back and forward to you. I've read for clients who said, why does my boss hate me? And actually the boss didn't hate them at all. The boss was just really frustrated. And in one case, the boss was just really stressed and fearful for their own job, and so taking it out on the people around them. It wasn't actually personal. So we need to be really mindful of the fact that what we perceive as somebody else's attitude towards us may not in fact be that. So again, we need to be more investigative and not make assumptions about how other people may or may not feel. Okay, will I win? And this is referring to court cases, it's referring to the lottery, it's referring to the Amaze Draw. If it's a lottery or a purely randomized thing, actually I'm going to tell you it isn't possible to predict it. I wish I could, or unless perhaps I just haven't read for a lottery winner. That's probably quite accurate. It does seem to be that would actually be a proper Wheel of Fortune moment, where we're not able to predict a randomized thing, because it isn't a fixed point on your path, and it is actually quite difficult for tarot to read that, because it's just a point on your path where it isn't set, so we can't predict it. Predicting the results of court cases is also very difficult, because there are a lot of moving parts in play. We have to try and scoot to the end and see what your reaction is to the result. And it might be that it's shades of grey. It might be there is no win or lose. It's a very complicated thing to explore in a reading, and there often isn't a simple answer to it. So again, taking guidance and asking the best way forward, the best way to proceed, rather than a prediction of an outright result, that's a better way to approach it. Okay, whatever comes up. Just give me whatever comes up. Now that's interesting, isn't it? That is interesting, and we can certainly do it. I think often when we're coming for a tarot reading, we do have something on our mind. And I would always advise being honest and saying what you want to know. Perhaps the reading won't actually bring up the issue that you actually want to talk about, and that is that is annoying for you, because if you want me to focus on a certain thing, which if you've come to a reading you probably do, and actually it's better if we can use your reading in a constructive way, in a way that's going to be really useful to you. So I would advise not saying whatever comes up. I would try and be a little bit more prescriptive about it, just because you want to use your time as best as is possible. Okay, so number 9, how many children will I have? Well, there you go. That is one that does come up from time to time. It isn't one that I personally can answer. I wouldn't advise asking it. It is of no use to you to know that, okay? Because, if you say, well, you're going to have 3. Well, okay, maybe. But when and with whom? And what point is there in that, other than it just being sort of interest? If you're going to spend money on a tarot reading, ask something useful. I mean, if we're going to be reading tarot, there isn't really a tarot card. Hello? There isn't really a tarot card that, or a combination of tarot cards that would give us a number. Okay, so we would have to do that psychically. And we can give it a stab. We might be right or we might be wrong. You'll have no way of knowing until you get there. So, why bother? Why not ask something that's more useful to you and let us do our job in a really, in a really empowering way. Okay, so number 10. What is the name of my future husband or future wife? Again, we're into fortune telling, and again, we're into a psychic prediction. Here's why this is dangerous, because it is dangerous. If you get given a name, okay, as being the name of your future husband and wife, that's going to be logged in your memory, and you will not forget it. That way, we're going to be influencing the path that you take. And it could be that you pass somebody by because they're not the right name. Or if you're married to someone, let's just run this scenario. If you're married to somebody and someone comes into your awareness who you quite like, who is in fact randomly the name you've been given by your terribly clever tarot reader, that's going to set off all kinds of pathways in your mind, and you're going to start wondering, maybe this is the person I really should be with. It's amazing how influential information like that can be. We need to be very, very careful. Years and years ago, a friend of a friend got told by a tarot reader that her future husband was going to be the Prince of Pentacles, and he had 5 talents. Well, okay, so the Prince of Pentacles is the Page of Pentacles, who is the student, and 5 talents, see 5 pentacles, that's very attuned with the 5 of Pentacles. So she met a guy who indeed was a universal student of lots of things. She counted 5 talents and she married him. What actually happened was he took his 5 talents and she invested every penny she had in the situation and ended up losing her house and all of her savings, and then he left her. So again, be careful what you ask, guys. Take guidance. Don't ask for fortune telling. What would have been a better reading was for that reader to have said, well, you're going to meet this guy, but you know what? You're going to be tempted to marry him. I advise against it. This is why. Because we can tell. If we ask the right questions, we get intelligent answers. So, do you know what? The reader was indeed right. But but no intelligent questions were asked. When we just fortune tell, we end up in all kinds of trouble. We have more power than we think we do. I hope this has been interesting and useful. Okay, poppies, lest we forget. Let's do it right. Let's ask the right questions and get the right answers. All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. If you want to learn tarot, I have all kinds of ways I can help you do that. I have a one-day course that's going to take you from confused to getting it in just one day. And I have an amazing deck, the Life Code deck. And if you are interested in that, the link is in the description below. Do come and talk to me. Let's do this right. Let's make tarot make sense, and let's use it to help us in our lives. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye. Hello, thank you for watching our video. If you're interested in the world of tarot and would like to explore further, and would like to know how to bring tarot to life so that it makes sense in the real world, I'd like to invite you to explore the Tarot Tribe. The Tarot Tribe is my personal membership, and inside you'll find a community of tarot students just like you, lots of bite-sized mini courses, a new one every month, and new spreads, demo videos, a clinic with me every month, and also discounts on readings with me once a quarter. So if you'd like to explore that, I would love to see you on the inside. Here's the link. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye for now.